Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Ferris Sports Update. I'm your host, Rob Bentley, and thanks for tuning in. On today's show, we'll recap an exciting weekend for the Ferris State football and volleyball teams, and we'll check in with Bulldog hockey as they get set to start the regular season. We'll start first, though, with Bulldog football, and joined by assistant head coach Rob Zeitman. Coach, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Rob. Appreciate it.
19th straight regular season win for the Bulldogs this past weekend over Findlay, 42-39, but they certainly don't get easier as time goes on.
No, this was a hard-fought game, and certainly Findlay was game. We knew they were going to be good. They were the top-ranked offense in the league coming into the contest, and or close to that. And they gave us a run for our money, and it was a lot about perseverance and just kind of staying the course and doing what we do and picking each other up. As one side of the ball faltered a little bit, the other side would pick it up, and that was good to see.
We trailed 28-14 at halftime. Before we get to the highlights, talk about what was said in the locker room at halftime in terms of coming back from that deficit.
Well, we knew that we felt pretty confident that we could score some points. We had left some points on the field in the first half, and we just had to come out in that second half and really score each time we had the ball and just concentrate on that. And we knew our defense was going to pick it up. We knew that they were better than they had showed in the first half, and they just had to kind of make a few corrections in there and get a couple stops, and we were going to be okay. And that was kind of the message from Coach at halftime. As
we get into some of the highlights, rainy day, a little cold in terms of the weather conditions. How did that impact the football game?
It was funny. It was like 70 degrees the day before and then 70 degrees the day after. Certainly, I don't know if it had a great impact. It might have had some impact in the kicking game more than the rest of it, but it was definitely a different day in terms of weather for us.
Get a stop on the opening drive, but unfortunately the offense was stopped as well. Finlay will get the first score, but then we'll see the offense come back quickly with a big touchdown.
Yeah, we felt, there were a couple things going into the game that we felt we could do, and certainly being physical was part of that. And you can see that was kind of our game plan going in and kind of how it played out offensively.
You mentioned the offense, 505 yards of total offense, and really a great second half as you rallied back. Did not leave any points out there in the second half with the exception of the final drive.
Yeah, and the final drive was our most important one in terms of just kind of maintaining that lead. For us to have the ball for over 6 minutes and end the game by taking a knee was really good and gave our defense the break they needed in terms of not putting them on the spot again in that game.
Both offensively, defensively, special teams played a key role as well. You were able to hold Findlay to a field goal try at the end of the first half, and a situation where they could have really jumped on top of you.
Yeah, after to have them have the ball with the last minute to go, and for our defense to stand up tall gave us the confidence we needed going into halftime, and come out with some momentum that otherwise we may not have had.
Real Canty with the punt return right there, and then the offense will go to work here. Jake Lampman, a valuable addition as a senior back this season for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Jake's been great for us, a good leader, and certainly had a great game, not only in his receptions, not only in his run game, but also in his blocking. The perimeter blocking was just huge for us this week on offense.
Jason Vanderlaan, of course, counted for 6 touchdowns. Almost one here that he didn't get as Shakur Sanders almost got into the end zone.
Yeah, Shakur had another great game for us, and then you see Jason kind of finish off the drive, and we just felt like as the second half rolled on, we exerted our physicality on them and and did some things to them that was just tough. There you see a double move by Lamp and his, I think, last touchdown of the day.
Bulldogs jumped ahead, and then Findlay scores on their final possession, but you mentioned the offense really chewed up the final 6:21 on the clock.
Yeah, we felt like we had to do that, and we knew that the defense had put us in positions to be successful in earlier weeks, and it was our turn to kind of step up as an offense, particularly an offensive line group. We have questioned ourselves and our physicality and our ability to get things done on the ground inside the box, and a lot of it is just opportunity. We haven't had the opportunity the way defenses have deployed, but the way Findlay deployed, they were daring us to pound their box a little bit with Jason running inside, and so consequently that's what we attempted to do and got it done.
42-39 Bulldog victory. You mentioned the offensive line. You coached the offensive line. Jason, 222 yards, I think, away from becoming the all-time rushing quarterback in NCAA history. What will that mean not only to him, but the offensive line and the rest of the football team?
Yeah, I think, you don't really think about that. Like, we had to check your last article to see, where he was, just kind of as a footnote. But it is a big deal for our program, to have a young man like Jason go through and have the kind of success he's had. And for our 5 linemen, we take a lot of pride in all of those numbers and all of our rushing numbers, and particularly that one's going to be huge. There are a couple of 4-year guys that have gone through with Jason that when if that happens, it's going to be huge for all of our guys, but particularly those guys, I think.
This week, the Bulldogs back on the road to Ohio again. You take on the Tiffin Dragons and a much improved football team.
They are. They're really good. Defensively, they run around, they fly around to the ball, and they make things happen. Little undersized, but they use that to their advantage. Offensively, they've got a premier quarterback, dual threat guy who can light it up, and it's going to be a stern test for us. And we can't carry over any points from last year. We're aware of that. We know what we're up against, and we travel down to Ohio, and that's never easy. It seems like there's always challenges when you're traveling. So we look forward to the opportunity, though.
You mentioned going on the road, and certainly the Bulldogs have had some success on the road here over the past 2 years, 10 straight road wins. What's been the key to that success?
Well, I think you go in with the mindset that your back's against the wall, that it's you against the world, and our guys like that. I think they revel in it a little bit, and it allows us to kind of get away from all whatever hype there is in a game and kind of seclude ourselves in a hotel the night before, and that helps us. And we have a routine, and football players and football coaches are routine oriented. So for us to have a pretty strict routine in how we do things and go about our business and go down there, it's been useful for us in the past, and we're hoping that it'll work to our benefit this week.
4 weeks here into the season, what's been the improvement you've seen, maybe the biggest improvements your team has made here over the first 4 weeks?
Well, I think from an offensive point of view, it's getting everybody involved and everybody just accepting a role. I know Jahan Brown hasn't had the huge offensive numbers that we saw mid-season last year, but he's been a monster in terms of blocking and doing the things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. Defensively, I think we continue to get better. Our front four is a wow right now, and we expect them to continue to improve. And special teams and Jaleel Canty and his contributions in punt return have been huge. And we just need to continue to improve in all 3 facets of the game as the season progresses. And I think we'll continue to take it 1 week at a time, see what happens. But we're excited about our opportunities for sure.
Certainly one of those guys you mentioned on the defensive line, Justin Zimmer, had his best game with 12 tackles. Talk about his performance on Saturday.
Well, his performance on Saturday is something that we've seen as an offensive line in practice since he moved down inside in the spring. And we knew, I mean, for us, we created rules of 48 rules. That's Justin's number of things that we have to do against a guy like Justin Zimmer. And fortunately, Findlay didn't have such rules, and he really had an unbelievable game. And he's not not just a great defensive player on the field, but the way he approaches his work week to week and day to day is a great example for all our players, really.
Well, Coach, congratulations again on the win over Findlay, and best of luck as you head back to Ohio to take on the Dragons this week.
Thanks, Rob. It was a pleasure being here.
We'll be back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.